President, please be seated. I give the floor to the co-prosecutor to continue putting questions.
Sir, given some of your answers, I'm going to play the tape of what you said when interviewed in 2008. So please listen carefully. I'd ask first that clip number 5 be played.
President, the AV personnel, please play the clip. When they sorted out the 17 April people or the soldiers, what they call the elements, I never reported about them or sorted them out, and that was my standing at that time, because I was from a distant place.
Sir, did you hear that tape and recognize your own voice?
Answer: yes, I recognize it.
What did you mean when you talked about the soldiers were sorted out?
I cannot recall it now. Because the document that I received 3 documents and I read them all.
Well, I'm sorry you did not receive a copy of your DC Cam interview. I think you should have. But let me remind you of some other things you said. If we could please play clip number 4.
President, the floor is given to Judge Lavenge.
Oui, Monsieur le Procureur, juste pour les besoins du
Yes, Mr. Co-Prosecutor, could we just have the references of the recording for the record? We have the references of the DC Cam interview, but I'm not sure that we have the references for the recording of this interview.
If you mean the page, if I understand you, the page where what they're speaking appears on?
No.
No. You are playing an audio recording. Does this audio recording have a reference? And if so, can you tell us what the reference for the audio recording is? And if possible, give us the time which corresponds to the segment that you're playing. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I'll have to ask my office to see the number. It's the tape associated with E3/9149, but I do have the times So the last clip I played began at about the 18-minute mark, and the next one is at the 49-minute mark. To be more exact, I have more exact times. The one I just played was at 18:35 to 18:58. And the one I'd like to play now is at 49 minutes, 00, to 51:41. So this would be clip number 4 for the booth.
President, AV unit personnel, please play the clip. Question: when was the deputy district secretary, did the sector issue order to you, for example, to move this person or that person? And have you ever protested or opposed those orders? Answer: they were the old cadres based at the district. One day they came to intimidate me. They said that in your district there seemed to be no removal of old cadres. The old cadres must be removed, and why don't you remove them? I told them that how could I remove them? Because they worked so hard and they never opposed us. So how could we find a reason to remove them? It took place a few times. I felt sympathetic toward them. As I told you earlier, the order from the upper echelon was to find someone who really opposed us. But in reality, at my place, there were no such thing. So I thought to myself that I could not do it. So I told them that there was no such opposition. And if you don't believe me, you can ask my deputies and members. Later on, they removed my deputies.
So, Mr. Witness, I believe the tape is finished. Mr. Witness, having listened to that, can you tell us again, do you recall now that you received orders from the upper level to arrest those that opposed you, but you found that there was no such opposition?
Answer. It was my voice. Yeah, everything was just like what I talked in the recording.
Okay. So, sir, when you said that you had these orders to arrest those that opposed, but you told them there was no opposition, what happened?
As I talked in the recording, later on, they kept on asking and they kept on causing trouble, but I still maintained my position that I would not do it. I would not do it at all.
You said that you asked them to speak to your deputy, Chon. Did they, to your knowledge, speak to Chon?
I cannot get your question clearly.
You said in the interview that if they didn't believe you, they should speak to Chon. You told us earlier that Chon disappeared. Do you know if they spoke to Chon before they called him to the sector or for re-education?
Yes, Chon disappeared.
And you said you did not remember the other name, Jen. So could I please ask that clip 6 be played? This starts at 51:41 to 52:23. And for the interpreters, it's on the page 12 in English of the DC Cam statement. In Khmer, it's at 00731254.
President AV unit, please play the clip. They removed my deputy. Question, what was his name? Answer, Chon. Question, where was his native place? Answer, he was the deputy secretary of Tang Kok district. Chon was removed and then was also removed. Question, did you know where they were sent to? Answer, they said that they were moved to study session. Question, what was the name of the deputy? Answer, the name was Un. Question, was Un the brother-in-law of Kai Pok? Answer, yes.
So, sir, does that tape remind you of who Jen was, the other person you said was removed?
Answer, the name was Dane.
Okay, thank you. Den? Can you repeat the name?
Dane.
Who was he?
He was the member of the district committee.
I didn't get the answer. Did it come through? Okay. Where was the... Okay. So, let me read another statement you made on the same page. Again, this is E39149 in Khmer 00731244, in French 01101-01030, and in English at 0116147. You said, during that regime, I was not sure of when my day would come. Can you tell us what you meant by that?
I was concerned about my own safety.
What did you see that made you concerned with your safety?
Because I noticed that there were problems taking place. There were disappearance of people. So this formed the basis of my concern about my own safety. I thought about when will it be my day.
You indicated that you were told that there were people opposing the regime, and I read you where you said that they were given names, but you've investigated and found that there was no opposition. Is that correct? Did you look at any evidence they have and determine whether or not there was any reason to believe people were disloyal in Bade district?
No, there wasn't.
So as far as you know, was there any reason why these people were arrested and disappeared?
I do not understand your question.
Well, let me move on and try to explain it with another question. Do you recall an incident, you talked to DC Cam about this in 2008, where you came across a funeral? Mr. Witness, I don't know if you heard me, I'll repeat it. You talked to DC Cam about an incident involving a funeral that you came upon. Do you remember that incident? Can you tell us about it?
Yes, I said so.
What happened when you came across the funeral? Do you remember?
villagers conducted the funeral at their home, and I rode my motorbike and I saw it. Those villagers were afraid when they saw me. I asked them and I told them that they had to hold the ceremony secretly, because if other people found out about this, there would be problems to them and also to me.
Yes, thank you. In your statement to DC CAM at Kamai 00731246, and in French at 011011032, in English 011161148, you said that almost the same thing, that when you were driving a motorbike home, when they saw me, they were so frightened and shivering. I asked one of them to see me. Then I told them that it would be fine for them to hold a funeral. However, I stressed that these days, if it was learnt that incest was burned, we would all be killed. Is that what you told them, that if people found out that you tolerated a religious ceremony, you and they would be killed?
Yes, I told them so.
So going back to what you said to the that's published in this book, Behind the Killing Fields, you said in that excerpt that I've previously quoted that you got instructions to investigate, but you said there was no opposition. But you added that thousands in the district were eventually executed as spies. Which district was this? Can you explain that quote?
I cannot recall it.
Well, in one of your interviews with the investigators from the court, this is E3/9149. I believe that's, and excuse me, that's still the DC camp. E3/9149 in Khmer at 00731-255, in French at 0110104, and in English at 01116-154. You talked about the people from Baray district. You said sometimes they come to visit me.
President Co-Prosecutor, could you please repeat the EON number of the document in French?
What I have is 0110104. It looks like it might be missing a digit, but I hope that's enough for people to find it. You said that, talking about people from Baray district and still having contact, you said sometimes they come to visit me in search of their relatives who have disappeared. Is that true, that the people from Baray still, or at least in 2008, used to come and ask you, hoping to find out what happened to their relatives?
President, the floor is given to the Defense Counsel for Khieu Samphan.
Oui, merci, Monsieur le Président.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. If we are at the 01101040 ERN in French, the question asked of the witness was from the period through 1979 up to this time. That was the period. Perhaps the co-prosecutor would like to clarify the period.
Yes, thank you. So you were being interviewed in 2008. So I think the interviewer was asking at that time, did you still have contact with people from Bare district? And you said that actually the question was, have any of them come around to visit you recently? And you said they came to visit me a year ago. That would be 2007. Sometimes they come to visit me in search of their relatives who have disappeared. Do you recall that even in 2007, which would have been about 28 years after the end of the regime, some people from Bare would still come to see you, hoping to find some help in finding their relatives, or what happened, what their fate was?
Yes, there were such cases. There was a man who came to us about his son. His son was a soldier.
When you say a soldier for which force?
He was the Khmer Rouge soldier.
So, before you arrived, did you become aware after you were in Bare that before you arrived, people had been executed as spies, as you told Tet Sambat?
Which Tet Sambat are you referring to? I cannot remember him.
Well, I'm quoting from a book by a man named Tet Sambat, who co-wrote it with Gina Chon. He also sometimes worked with another British man, and he was making a film. In the book, they quote you about what happened in your district. Do you remember speaking to a man with some foreigners about what happened during DK? Actually, Mr. Witness, there's a very small picture of him on the book. This is the book in which you're quoted. I don't know if we can zoom in on it. It has his photograph. If it's possible for the camera to zoom in at all further, because the lower picture of the bicycle is Tet Sambat. Do you remember that young man?
No, I do not remember.
When you first went to the Central Zone, you had previously been under the Southwest Zone, is that correct?
I was located to the south of Phnom Penh.
ខ្ញុំដឹងអញ្ចឹង
That's the only thing I remembered.
Well, you said you were in Siang. That was District 25, wasn't it?
បាទមែន
Yes, that's correct.
And that was under the Southwest Zone, isn't that correct?
ខ្ញុំមិនសូវ
I cannot remember it clearly whether it was in the southwest zone and what provinces were under the southwest zone.
Do you remember who the zone secretary was? Do you remember who the zone secretary was?
I am not clear about it now. I heard from other people that Tamok was the zone secretary.
Now, when you were sent to the Central Zone, was it you alone, or were there other people from your area who were also sent to the Central Zone?
ទៅមានក្មេង2នាក់
There were two other young men.
Do you recall their names?
បាទ
Their name was John and another John and Kiet.
Did you travel through Phnom Penh?
បាទឆ្លង
Yes, I did.
And before sending you to the Central Zone, did they send you for some training, give you some instructions in Phnom Penh or elsewhere?
No. We were taken during the night time.
Can you, sir, go ahead. You were taken during the night time, and did you stop and spend the night in Phnom Penh?
No, we did not stop over in Phnom Penh. We were transported in a vehicle. When we left, it was in rather late afternoon.
Did you have contact either on that trip or once you got to the Central Zone with another district secretary there, Prakyut?
I know a person named Prak who was the chief of a sector. And he was the one who sent me.
Well, I'm speaking about a woman. Are you speaking about a woman who was also district secretary in the Central Zone? In Sector 42?
Prak came from Kondal province, and Prak was the one who sent me to the Central Zone, and that was the only Prak that I knew.
What about Pech Chim? Did you know him? Do you recall someone named Pech Chim?
No, I do not know Pichim.
He came from Tramkak district to the Central District, and let me see if I read from his statement, if it refreshes your recollection. At E3/9587, in his answers number 220 and 221, Pech Chim said, I can recall the name of the Tangko district secretary. His name is, and it says your name. The question was, when did, they asked again your name, arrive in the Central Zone? And Pech Chim said, your name, traveled to the Central Zone at the same time with me. Do you recall that you went to the Central Zone at the same time with Pech Chim, who was from Tramkak?
I cannot recall if Pichim was a person who came from Tramkok or who made a journey when I made that journey. I cannot recall that. As I stated earlier, I came together with two young men.
Let me ask you about something that K. Pok's son said. First, let me ask you, did you ever meet K. Pik Manak?
No, that name does not ring a bell to me.
Well, it seems he knows you. In his interview, E3/35, in Khmer 00340565, in French 00367723, and in English at 00346152. He said the following: when the Southwest Zone group arrived, the purging started. It was done from the district level down to the village. The district committee of Bare district after the arrival of the Southwest Zone was, and he names you. Says he is now in An Lang Veng. So what he indicates is that after Southwest group arrived, purging started. Is that correct?
I still cannot recall the person by the name of Kaivanna. And I did not hear anything in relation to what you just read out.
Well, that seems consistent with what you told Tet Sambat, or what he wrote, what he says you told him, that in your district, thousands were eventually executed as spies. Now, sir, I'm not here to accuse you, but I'm here to get the truth from you. Did you know that that happened? I'm not asking you whether you did it or fought against it. Isn't it true that in Bare district, where you were, or eventually came to, thousands of people were purged, killed, because of being allegedly disloyal to the regime? Is that true?
After I arrived, I only heard people talking about what you just read out.
And what did you hear people saying? That thousands of people had been wrongfully killed?
I did not have a full grasp of the situation, and I did not know the extent of the offenses that they made.
Okay. Let me read to you from another statement. First, let me ask you, do you know someone named Sao Ren who was imprisoned in a security center in, I may have to ask my friend, my colleague, to help me with the pronunciation, Chevikpiep commune in Tangko district.
Yeah, translation right.
Did you know this person by any chance, Sao Ren?
No, I don't.
Well, this is what he said in his interview with DC Cam E3/2073. In English, it's at 00876419. In French, 00892873. In Khmer, 00055197. He says the governor of Tangko was, and he gives your name. He says he is currently alive, but, and then he mentions an injury that you suffered and still suffer from. It says you are currently living in An Lang Veng. And he told the interviewer that he was among only 3 of 70 people who survived this security center. And then he goes on and he says on the next page, I'll give the ERNs again just in case. It's English 00876-423 to 424, French 00892-872.
លោកប្រញាប់លោកអាន
Co-prosecutor, please read the EN numbers slowly.
Sorry. When you're rushing, it just slows it down. I'll try again. English 00876-423, French 00892-872, and Khmer 000-55201. Ren said the order came from the sector that is, and he names you. In 1977, he says you confessed that you had made mistakes by executing people without consideration. And the interviewer asked him how you made that confession. He said you confessed that you had killed people in an unfair manner. He asked why you confessed. He said our people asked him. He said, when was this? And according to Sao Ren, 1977, you said this in a rubber plantation. Do you recall meeting with a group of people who were angry about the deaths of their relatives at a rubber plantation?
ខ្ញុំអត់
I do not know anything in relation to what you just read out. As for the name Iran, the name does not sound familiar to me.
You remember speaking to an angry group of people at a rubber plantation who were accusing you of killing their relatives? Or accusing the regime of killing their relatives?
No, I do not recall that.
Sir, did you attend meetings in Phnom Penh on political education?
I never attended any political study session in Phnom Penh.
Did you attend meetings in Phnom Penh with Nun Chea?
No, I never.
Sir, could I please ask that clip number 3 be played?
AV unit personnel, please play the relevant clip. Defense Counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before we play the excerpt, is this connected with DCCAM? And if yes, then could we have the corresponding ERNs, please?
Thank you. E3/yes, it is DCCAM, so that's E3/9149. In French, the ERN is 011-01033. In Khmer, 00731247. And in English, it's at page 011111. 16149. And the clip appears at, I'll get the time in a moment. I believe it's 21 minutes. It's actually at 27 minutes, 15 seconds.
លោកមន្ត្រីសោតទោះចាក់បញ្ចាំង
President, AV unit, please play the relevant clip. Question. At that time, did you have to go for a meeting in Phnom Penh once a year? Answer, yes, I did. Question, with whom did you have the meetings? Answer, it was a collective meetings or representative from provinces attended the meetings. Question, who chairs the meetings? Answered, sometimes it was Noon Chea.
Mr. Witness, recognize your own voice.
Yes, I do.
Sir, can you tell us why is it that you tell us you never went to meeting in Phnom Penh? In 2008, you said you went once a year to meetings. You told us that you never went to meeting with Noon Chea. In 2008, we just heard you say Noon Chea was sometimes there. Why, sir, are you telling us things different than what you said in 2008? Are you afraid?
I cannot recall that. Of course, I cannot recall everything.
Well, sir, I certainly could understand you can't recall everything that happened years ago. But what about the disappearance of your colleagues and the deaths of people you knew? Are those the kinds of things you'd forget?
Of course, the memory cannot stay with us forever.
Do you want to forget about those things because of how bad they were or because you feel guilty? Can you tell us why you can't remember those events?
I do not have anything to hide from the court.
Okay. Can you tell us if you know about what you know about the security center at Bare Choin Dek?
As for the security center at Barai Chon Dai Pagoda, I was not aware of it, and I made mention that fact in my previous statement, as I was not aware of its existence. When I arrived, I focused on the works that were assigned to me, and I was there for a short period of time only. And the person who interviewed me asked me about its existence, and I responded that I was not aware of it, and I was not aware of its existence.
Well, there was another cadre interviewed named Ban Saik. In his statement E3/375, in English it's at the bottom of 00360,759. In French it's at 00369,922. In Khmer 00348,800. He was also asked about various events, and in regard to the pagoda at Barai Choindijk, he answered, if you want to get precise, you can ask Bong, and then your name, who was in charge of Barai district. At least once a month he visited there. If he could not go, he was assigned his subordinates to visit on his behalf. By the way, he cannot respond that he did not know about that. When an arrest was made, the district must have known about it. And then again in answer 34 at his interview in E319/19.3.86, he said, as district secretary, he had to have known about the security office in his district. In his testimony before this court on the 5th of October of last year, Van Syk said, he gave your name, came from the southwest. That is after the cadres from the central zone had gone. So he must have known about the arrest of those cadres, or at least have knowledge about it, or knew the location of it. So, sir, do you want to tell us, is Van Syk correct? Or why do you say he's not correct? As district secretary, didn't you know about the arrests? Didn't you know about the arrests in your own district?
I said that I was not aware of it because I only worked there for a short period of time. And this Bansi who testifies that I was a district secretary and that I should have been aware of it. What I can say is that his testimony is not correct because that location was a security center and I went there late and I was not aware of everything. I was not. And that is also the statements that I provided earlier. And how could Bansi said I should have been aware of that? Because it happened a long time ago and I came late and I was not aware of it.
Well, did you receive lists of names of people that the upper echelon, not you, but the upper echelon wanted investigated?
No, I never received any list of names.
Did you ever do any investigation?
I never conducted any investigation. My main focus was to implement the policy that is in the productions of rice, so that the people could have enough to eat. And the policy was to produce 3 tons of rice yields per hectare. And if a cadre cannot accomplish that plan, then the person might be sanctioned. And that's where my main focus lied. I never received or put focus on any list of names.
Did you implement policies on enemies?
As for such a policy, the policy did exist.
By the way, the policy on enemies, or people who were under suspicion, what did the policy say about Cham people?
I cannot recall the content of that policy or its solutions about the Cham people.
Sir, earlier today I read from your 2008 statement where you said, during the regime, I was not sure of when my day would come. And you told us earlier this morning that during the regime you were frightened and concerned about your own safety. Why was that? You weren't doing anything wrong. Why were you concerned for your own safety during the DK regime and not sure of when your day would come?
At the time, I was concerned about my own safety, and because of such concern, I tried my best not to make any mistake against the law of the regime. I had to be very, very careful in doing so. During a regime which was considered a dark cloud.
And I see my time is up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, co-prosecutor. It is now convenient for our lunch break. We take a break now and resume at 1:30 this afternoon. And Mr. Witness, it's now lunch break. You may rest and please return to that location at 1:30. The same thing applies to the duty counsel. Security personnel, you are instructed to take Kyu Sampon to the waiting room downstairs and have him returned to attend the proceedings this afternoon. Before 1:30, the court stands in recess.